Well, how about before we start to get into this, Jen, we're in like a new space. Can you talk about like the little transformation you
Why
had
don't you
over the
ask
last
me
2
to
weeks?
talk about it? Because I'm
Well-
the one that had to fucking deal with it.
Jess as well, obviously.
I'm the one that had to fucking build everything that you see in here.
And
true.
I am so grateful. I am so grateful. After we sat with ayahuasca, I was on this huge, I was purging so much. Purging literally like old layers of my identity. And the studio was an extension of me, is an extension of me. And so I needed to
Change it up.
I need to change it. And I feel really fucking good in this space now.
This is good.
And it's got a better flow. It feels bigger. I have more space for people to sit on the couch when they come, even just to hang out or for counseling. Like, it just feels good. And for holding ceremonies in here, there's so much more room. And now I have a focal point for the altar. It just feels good because this is also, it's set up better now for my shamanic work. So
Makes sense.
I love it. Love it, love it,
Jess,
love it.
Yes.
how did you feel about all of this?
Exhausted. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, exhausted.
I think you had some fun because
I did
for
have
all
fun.
week, all you've been doing is building and crafting, and you enjoy being in your space.
I
doing it.
100% have had fun. I'm not arguing that I didn't enjoy myself, but your energy, as lovely as it is all the time, was a bit intense for the last few weeks.
I was totally agitated because I couldn't
And-
handle things. I just couldn't handle. I had to just keep clearing stuff out.
I know.
And it extended into the house and with our clothes, and then just moving everything around.
It
and then
extended also with several expensive couches in the house.
But the couch is so nice. Look at it.
The couches are beautiful. This couch is beautiful. It looks.
Beautiful.
The space looks amazing.
it's an investment.
But nevertheless, it's
Unexpected investments.
unexpected and. Am I like?
Talent's ready?
Am I like the annoying talent? What are you doing? What's my hair looking like? What are you doing sitting there? Get my makeup on. Do I look fat? Does this make me look fat? Does the camera add 10 pounds?
Yeah, turn your mic
Do
down.
not turn that mic
That
down.
was
Turn it up. Turn it up. Fill it up. Fill it up. Fill it up, please. What movie is that from?
I don't know.
Fill it up. Fill it up. Fill it up, please. Home Alone.
Oh,
Uncle Frank.
Oh,
On the plane.
yeah. Champagne.
It's free, isn't it? Okay. What a stressful, stressful morning it has been, people. You have no idea what you are in for today. Today is a day, a treat for all those listening in the podcast universe today, because today is the episode I've been wanting to do since the dawn of time, since the dawn of 2020, is trans.
Yeah, this is a big episode and something that you've been hounding me to record. So today's the day. We've been doing a lot of research.
I've been smoking a lot of joints, reading a lot of books. Because it is stressful, a stressful topic.
Well, and it's a topic that we can't avoid in our society, and we're seeing it everywhere, especially having a child in the mainstream education system now. She's back in school and comes up often, and we see it just driving through the city when we're driving through London. Like, you just see it. So it's something that we have to navigate right now. From a societal lens, from spiritual lens, there's lots to consider. Biological lens. So I'm just going to preface this podcast with a disclaimer then. This whole episode, in fact, the whole podcast, all of the episodes, they come from our own hearts. This is Jen and Jess speaking from our own hearts, from our own worldview, from our own perspective. And it's not representative of anybody else except for the two of us. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Where do you want to start, Jess?
Okay, well, I mean, first of all, let me just say, most of this information is coming from, most of the information I am referencing. I just want to go over a list of books so that everybody knows what I've got going on. Okay, so we have The End of Gender by Dr. Deborah So, and she's Canadian. And she was on Joe Rogan recently, so if anybody hasn't listened to that,
Great episode.
You should. You should. There was The Case Against the Sexual Revolution by Louise Perry, and that's not necessarily about trans per se, but it does discuss some queer theory, and it had some super valuable information. Then there was Trans by Helen Joyce, and this was a really excellent book. It was a bit more technical and difficult to listen to, but she had a lot of good information in this book. And then there is there's one more that I physically
You've also listened to a ton of podcasts, done a lot of research, spoken to a lot of people.
yeah I can't find the other one, but it's by Dr. Miriam Grossman.
Oh, yeah. The
And-
child and adolescent psychiatrist. Yeah, she's
Actually,
great.
I have it written down.
And I think Jess, you told me before we before we started that your outlook on all of this has changed since you've done the reading and like the podcasts.
Well, you've self-educated, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I just want to say before I move on, Dr. Miriam Grossman, and this was Lost in Transnation.
Oh, that's right.
And this woman is a certified child adolescent psychiatrist, senior fellow at Do No Harm. She is very smart, very educated, and she's been doing the work she's an older woman, and she's got some really interesting things to say about the younger generation of scientists, just about how they're coming at this from such a recent perspective, and they're kind of taking all of the biological science that's been done for the last 100 years. Like there's references, I'm going back to the early 1900s on some of these studies with brain development and showing how gay men have brains that look more like a straight female. But they're taking all of that science and they're, calling it racist and, homophobic and transphobic, and they throw it out the window. And instead they bring in, I'm going to call it junk science. And that is taking accounts from people who might be, maybe not, mentally ill. And you're taking their word for, that's like me writing a science based on an anorexic woman and her feelings. And I'm just taking all of her feelings into account, and I'm not taking into account her illness, that she sees herself as a ginormous woman when she's 90 pounds. You understand the flaw in that?
Doing a qualitative study on somebody's human experience versus maybe a meta-analysis of all the research would have less bias.
Totally. And we are going to talk a little bit about that. But to answer Alora's question, yeah, I feel very different about how I felt. I'm still angry as fuck about biological males competing in female sports, being in female spaces. I still am feeling the exact same way. Nothing has changed, okay, in that regard.
We, several years ago, we got into a heated discussion over that because a friend of ours was doing her thesis on trans women in women's sports.
Should trans women be allowed to play
in women's sports?
In women's sports.
And she was an athlete. You're an athlete. I was an athlete growing, right? And I was defending trans women at the time, but I didn't know any information. It was just based under this feeling and looking back the programming of woke ideology that it has to be inclusive, but the term inclusive actually excludes biological women
100%
from
their sport.
their sport.
Yeah.
So anyways, interesting how my perspective has changed the more that I've come to learn and understand and actually can think for myself around what is actually fair
Yeah.
and what is also right.
Right. 100%. And where I've changed my thinking on that is I think I was at a point where I was maybe being a bit unfair, and I was sort of under the belief that, or the thinking that most, if not, I should just reference all trans people are homophobic. They're gay people. They're gay people trapped in freaks' bodies. Like, sorry, that's how I felt. That's how I still feel. But now I've come to realize that 1 in 20,000 births are going to have potentially some kind of intersex malformation of the interior or exterior reproductive organs. Now, with that said, I'm intelligent enough to be able to understand that, put myself in those shoes, and things could be challenging. But on a biological level, I have to still maintain my female cow with not perfect exterior genitalia has also imperfect interior reproductive system and is not fully developed in her cervix.
Right.
That does not take away that she's still a female cow.
Right.
With that said, because she was a twin with a male and was exposed to high levels of testosterone, her brain may have developed with more of a bull's mentality. But she's still
Biologically,
she's still a female, and she
Right.
still has those female traits where she nurtures the sheep, and she's still,
anatomically, she is still
anatomically she's female.
female. Yes.
She may be like me. She might be a tomboy. She might be a little more rough around the edges, but she's not a male. It is what it is.
Right.
But that's a bit more of where I'm learning that there are potential circumstances where you may have a male born with reproductive issues, or he may just be exposed to higher levels of
Testosterone.
no, it wouldn't be higher levels of testosterone. It would be lower levels of testosterone.
Oh, sorry, male.
Male,
Right. Yep.
right? So that's where the science would get into him being more likely to be gay.
So this is actually a perfect example of how this movement, this trans movement, is blanketing everything and encompassing everything under certain ideology without context and without actually sharing the
Yes.
science behind things. And if you don't get caught, if you don't follow this certain ideology, then you're against it.
Yes.
Right? So it is divisional
100%.
thinking, and it keeps people at odds rather than having discourse like this today, which is
Yes.
also why it's been so taboo for healthcare professionals to be able to speak out about this comfortably without being slammed by mainstream media or being ostracized or being canceled or having their license revoked for any
Right.
time anybody has a different perspective, a different view, and wants to have a hard conversation around something that makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah. The other thing is it marginalizes actual intersex people. Because those people
Right.
are now the 1 in 20,000 that would be seen probably pretty quickly and have really good care are now being lumped in with the T ideology. And these are, again, in my opinion, which is usually correct, homophobic people that are self-homophobic. They would rather be a trans man or a trans woman than be what they really probably are, which is a gay man or woman. Or just somebody that's got autogynephilia and is confused and needs to see a therapist. Like before they turn into the Canadian military pilot that sneaks into women's houses and tries on their underwear, and then 5 years later he's murdering them. And
Yeah, it started Colonel Russell Williams or
Williams
something
or Wilson?
like.
I don't know.
Look that up. This is from the Trenton Air Base, and I'm from Belleville originally. So I remember when Jessica, I forget her last name, when she went missing because she was one of its victims.
Williams, yeah, Russell Williams.
Russell Williams. It started with autogynephilia, which
have a
is
mic.
his preference on wearing women's. His preference was wearing women's underwear, and he would sneak into houses and wear their lingerie, their underwear, and it kept getting bigger and bigger until the point of raping and killing these women.
Such a terrible, sad story.
And it's disgusting how bad it got.
Because I actually did some research on that years ago, and they got really close. But because he was who he wasn't investigated.
Status.
But the area, like he lived, things were happening in his area, and he wasn't even.
Yep. Yeah. No. I.
It's really.
Yeah. I grew up there.
I know, like that's and me being from London, even I was really like, wow, like we all. I mean, that was scary.
It was. It was too
was
close
really
to home.
scary.
I lived just a few minutes away from the base.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Anyway, okay.
the intersex, I just want to say, Dr. So, Dr. Deborah So, she even said that intersex, usually those that are intersex born with their genitalia being maybe deformed or
okay.
that they generally want binary.
Yes.
They generally want
They want to stay with the sex that they were. Like if they had a penis that was not quite, like his scrotum wasn't developed correctly or something, he would grow up with the male tendencies and want to be identifying.
So they don't generally want to identify as part of this kind of the LGBT type movement and want the non-binary spectrum.
Right.
They generally they want to identify as the sex.
So what that really tells me, before we even continue, is that if we would just leave these kids alone, most of them would move through this and work it out, which is what actually medical science does show. Okay, but that's still my opinion, that if you just left these kids to be, that they would eventually figure their stuff out, and they would identify
after puberty.
Yes, and they would identify and start to love that self and who they were or are, rather, they would totally love who they are.
Yeah.
And they would work that out, and they would likely identify as just the gay individual.
Right.
Even some of them have statistically shown not to be, though.
Right.
There's no playbook for it.
No, I think it's this is why we're also having this conversation, is because there is a war against children right now. There's and as parents, we have a young girl that is in the transition through puberty, which is also her rites of passage as she develops as a woman, that we honor and support her through a challenging time as an adolescent.
Right. 100%.
So our conversation, like as a same-sex couple with a daughter, and so our view is coming from both being married as women and being parents.
No girl enjoys going through puberty. I'm sorry, but I've never met one that was like, I fucking loved it. Every fucking part. I loved bleeding through my pants in grade 6 so that everybody saw.
What
That
girl
was my
didn't
favorite.
bleed through something?
I
Oh,
loved
gosh.
bringing pads to school in the 80s and 90s when they were fucking thick and big and
Felt
not
like you were
discreet.
wearing a diaper
You
at
were.
school. Yeah.
You walked down the hall
Yeah.
and you could hear it fucking moving and shit. Okay? It's not like today. Okay? Like, it was, times were tough, bro. And they were a quarter. I mean, they were expensive. Now they've got them for free, even in the boys' bathroom. But I mean, when we were kids, they were not easy to come by. And I can remember having to like, can I have a tampon? And like getting it slid. And then, you know, Jason fucking Fawcett grabs it and, you know, flings it up. And then everybody sees it. And you're on the rag. Oh, God. No, what girl likes that?
Oh, we all have. Like, I have horrifying, embarrassing stories from my time in high school with my period. Like,
Yo,
what girl doesn't?
Every
right?
girl does. But the first time I used a tampon, we were at Canada's Wonderland, and my friend Jody Cowles gave me a tampon, and I put it in, and then I said to her, like, she was standing outside the door, like, she came with me, and she was waiting outside the door, and I was like, yo, this doesn't feel good, like, it hurts, like the plastic hurts, and she goes, what the fuck? The applicator's not supposed to go in.
I did that the first time too.
You did? I don't even, how does that even happen?
But it was cardboard.
Oh my, no, mine was the plastic one and it was like ripping my fucking vaginal wall.
Yeah.
Anyways, my friend thought that was fucking hilarious. I did not. I don't even remember.
I don't think there was instructions. I don't remember instructions, and I was looking at it going, what? I don't get it.
Well,
How
there was
does
an
it-
instruction if you got it in a whole box, but if you're sitting in a bathroom at, you know,
Yeah.
Wonderland, you're not going to have access to the
But that's
instructions.
also generational, like what parent felt comfortable sharing and supporting a child through puberty. Mm-hmm. That also has to be a conversation and comfort in the family's home. I remember, like, I look at the boys that I was growing up with and how much they struggled with, like, the acne and the voice changing and how embarrassed they were. And my heart went out to them all the time because I'm like, this is hard. Yeah, I could imagine that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, how about the boners? How about
And
boners? Dude.
Yeah.
Boners were everywhere, and especially in my school, because all the Portuguese and fucking WAP kids and fucking Polish kids too, for that matter, all wore jogging pants every day, and their fucking boners just pop out of those. It was so awful.
I remember watching lots of guys like try to push them down.
Oh my God. I remembered wanting to replicate it. I'd be like, how do I get a boner? That looks cool. I think I had gender dysphoria.
Okay, well let's talk about that right now. That's a great segue to in the DSM-5. Let me just read you what the gender dysphoria, because this is what the huge conversation around trans and needing surgery is based off of gender dysphoria.
Okay.
A lot of that, okay? It is a strong desire to be of the other gender, or an insistence that one is the other gender. A strong preference for cross-dressing, cross-gender roles in make-believe play or fantasy play, which is
my God.
all children. Like, that's, come on. A strong preference for toys, games, or activities stereotypically used or engaged in by the other gender. Again, I feel like this is like all children. And a strong preference for playmates of the other gender. That is not gender dysphoria.
All children. I don't think that's all children, but that's me.
That's a lot of kids.
that
Me?
you?
That's me.
That was me too.
That's me.
That was me too.
Yeah.
That's a lot of kids, and
That's not Avalon, but like not at all. Avalon has the most like stereotypical.
No. You said that she liked her Superman or Batman.
She liked it because I bought it for her.
Oh.
I wanted to make sure that she was exposed to everything, right? Because like
And then
my
let her
mom would
choose.
always buy me like girly shit, and I wanted boy shit. Like I wanted like My Buddy. That was like the boys' toy. My Buddy was the boys' toy. My Buddy. It was for boys. I had a My Buddy. Because eventually my mom just like was like, okay, this girl's a lesbian. I'm just gonna fucking buy her what she wants. But I would buy both for her. She did like Batman and she liked the cartoons, but the toys, she didn't really play with the toys all that much. She played with rescue bots, like the card, like those toys. But
would that be considered a boy, like a
It would be.
traditionally like male toy?
It would be,
right?
yeah.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is that there's so many kids that play with all the toys,
Yeah, you're right.
Lego, building blocks. All kids can play with those different things.
yeah,
Just because a girl isn't wanting to play with her dolls and she wants to play with the race cars doesn't mean she has gender dysphoria.
no. But if all she wants to do is play with her race cars, get dirty, play sports, then that's maybe it's just being a tomboy. Maybe
But
being a tomboy
that's what I'm
is
saying.
gender dysphoria.
I don't think there's something wrong with this child. I think she actually just has a preference for more physical activities.
Let me be clear. I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. I'm just saying a tomboy and gender dysphoria sound about the same to me.
That's what I mean. I don't think that this should be classified under the DSM-5 as a disorder.
But wait,
those,
did you want
those
a dick?
parts of it?
Did you want a dick? Because I wanted a dick. I used to put the fucking thing in my pants so that when I was robbing, I would have like the bulge in my underwear.
I definitely saw my uncle shaving, and there was like a kid's toy where you can like a kid's set, like a shaving set, and I wanted that, and they gave me like a girl's thing, and I was like, I want to shave. That looks way more fun. What's wrong with that? I want that. I guess we had gender dysphoria.
I mean, listen, we're 3 lesbians sitting here, all agree.
Yeah.
You can say no till you're blue in the face, but Evelyn didn't want to shave her face. And so to me, she's a very she's a very typical girl who was allowed to have whatever she wanted. And sometimes that was riding her bike.
Yeah.
And
you
she
gave
was
her
into that, right?
Yes, freedom to be who she wanted.
100% freedom
Yes.
to be who she wanted. But,
Exactly.
But there's no doubt that she leans way more female and feminine, stereotypical than male. Like
Absolutely.
there's no doubt.
Yes.
So anyway,
But it's interesting because the 3 of us all grew up more tomboy-ish.
yeah. And we were lesbians. You
And we
wrestled.
were just-
I did karate.
Yeah.
Played hockey.
Rugby,
Okay.
Yeah.
She danced and does
art,
art. So
and makeup. Yeah.
and rides a bike. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, not even. And since puberty, she's not really.
Yeah, since puberty's starting, like it's changing, right? And that's a normal transition developmentally, right? So this DSM-5 criteria also says that there's a strong rejection of sex-typical toys, games, and activities, a strong dislike of one's sexual anatomy. Pause for a second. One's dislike of one's sexual anatomy. That, I think, is also part of the natural transition of puberty, that it is uncomfortable with the changes. I remember when my boobs were coming in, that I was like, they look gross. This looks gross. Because
again, the TV is showing you and the magazines are showing you
Programming.
beautiful,
Right.
perfect, touched up. Even
Right.
in the 80s, that shit was touched
Totally.
up, man. People think that,
the
that was-
magazines,
no.
the teen magazines,
No, those girls
much
all had.
music.
If you met those girls in person, they had acne. But on the cover of Teen Beat magazine, they did not have acne.
So then it also comes down to a cultural thing and a societal
Sure.
conditioning
It's
of
fake.
what is actual health, what is healthy development, and what versus what are we being programmed to think it was ideal,
Yes.
right? Who we should be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I also think that the dislike of one's sexual anatomy is also family it can be intergenerational trauma. 'Cause
100%.
if there's shame
Absolutely.
in their own sexuality or their own biology, where we can't even say
Yeah.
penis or vagina, and we have to say, oh, your itty bitties, or I don't know, your hoo-ha. We don't, right? That there's already shame that we're passing
Yeah.
down through our family.
Same as if it's body dysmorphia, like my family, like the
That is, yeah.
same thing, right? Because if
Yeah.
if like I grew up with my mom constantly talking negatively about herself and standing in the mirror and like grabbing herself and being like blah blah blah. It 100% when I was going through puberty, I found myself doing the exact same thing, and I was like so. When I look back at pictures, I see now that I had that because I was fucking so cute and so petite, and I thought I was so fat and ugly. It's so crazy.
So the baby boomers, that generation, I think there's a lot of trauma because they came out of the war and stuff like that. But my mom also experienced that too, and there was a general dislike for her own body, and that came through. That's a lot on my maternal side. So I wasn't taught self-love. I wasn't taught that.
Yeah.
And so I also think that this journey in our life is learning to fully love every part of ourselves. And if we're not taught that, we're taught that if I don't look a certain way, then I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And so now we're creating, we're planting the seeds for the younger generations that they aren't good enough as the way they are, and they need to alter themselves.
And then now look at AI, look at the internet, look at everything. It's just all girls are fake. That's why, like, there's no names. There's a girl that maybe we've discussed, and I don't think she's attractive because it's fake to me. Fake. And I don't like fake. Nothing fake is attractive to me.
Yeah. I think that we're starting to, because that's frequency. Just remember that's frequency to look a certain way, to get your hair done, to get your eyelashes done, to get your body altered, to dress a certain way, nails, like you're projecting a certain image, and that's a certain energetic frequency that you don't resonate with.
Yeah.
You resonate with something that is.
Yeah. Also, it feeds into, getting back onto the trans topic, it feeds into woman face, okay? It feeds into these fucking men dressing up as women and I'm so emotional today. I'm crying. I'm definitely feeling like a woman now. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, fuckface, but this is not what being a woman is. Being a woman is not getting lashes and nails and doing your hair and makeup and having girl talk. That does not equate to being a woman.
No.
That is not what being a woman is. A 13-year-old girl on her phone, on her bed with her feet kicked up, on her banana phone in the 80s, like, what's up? Like, that's what they're saying is like that fucking Dylan Mulvaney. Don't fucking turn my mic down. That fucking Dylan Mulvaney on his fucking stupid channel, and all he does is like dress like a cheerleader and dance and kick and cry. And he's saying that's being I'm learning how to be a teenage girl.
He's dishonoring womanhood.
100% he is.
It's an absolute disgrace to women.
100%.
Yeah.
He's making a fucking mockery out of a girl becoming a woman.
Yeah.
And you cannot put on fucking makeup and tell me that you are a fucking woman. You cannot take some estrogen for a year and tell me that you're a fucking woman. Especially after doing all this research, I am so much more convinced than ever before that 90% of these fucking clowns dressing up as women, even the children, are fucking clown in clown world, and they are not. But the fucking poor bastards that are born with these reproductive, internal, external issues are being made a mockery of. And those people would have otherwise just lived their lives as they want, which is like trying to love themselves, trying to be okay with themselves. The other stuff that these retards are fucking bringing in, the men in the women's sports and those poor kids that are those actual people, I just feel so bad because they're getting lumped in with all these mentally ill, mostly men, but unfortunately quite a few women now.
Yeah.
Because, this is something statistically that did not affect women, by the way, people, until like 5 to 10 years ago, okay? I'm not saying that it didn't exist. I'm simply saying it was more rare for female than it is for male, okay? So women were typically not identifying as men. They were identifying as what they were, butch fucking women.
Yep.
Okay? And now they're identifying as male.
Right.
But that was statistically not happening until this woke fucking trans movement.
I have a question with like the gender dysphoria and the what else was on there? Like if the percentage of people who do transition, if you were to go back into their childhood, would all of these people have these things? Like, is this a simple pathway to see if a child might be trans or might want to consider transitioning? Like, if a kid has gender dysphoria, what was the other thing?
No, that was autogynephobia. Are you talking about that or?
No, like more like I play with the guys'
Oh,
toys. I don't like my breasts. Like are
Right.
all
The
these
strong
things,
preferences for the
Yeah.
opposite gender stereotypical activities.
is that like a step way, like to this kid is on the path to that? Like have you?
I have done a lot. I could probably answer
Yeah.
the question, but you answer it first in your way.
My view on it is that organically, as children grow up, they're developmentally part of finding out who you are is through play. Like that's how kids learn, just like how animals learn. Like you learn through play, and you learn through trying on different things and make believe. And I think if we just allow children to be children and also naturally go through their different developmental stages without interference
Right.
and pushing them down a certain path or altering their bodies in any way, but to allow natural puberty to unfold and to support them through the transition into adulthood from a place of self-love, compassion, and worthiness, they're going to develop a stronger self-identity and self-esteem for them to later decide if I need to change and evolve into whoever else I need to evolve into, which is, again, a natural human experience. Even as adults, we're constantly shedding old self and stepping into the
100%.
new. But to allow a child to alter something so sacred as a rite of passage into adulthood, where we're blocking it completely or altering or cutting their bodies up.
It's permanent. Well,
They say it's not permanent, but puberty blockers are permanent.
And surgery is trauma to the body that can take decades to heal.
Yeah.
And if we're going to encourage several surgeries, are we informing the family on how much trauma we're creating?
No, because the family most of the time doesn't have any input. Because now if you live in communist Canada, the parents don't even have a say. All the kid has to do is say, my parents don't make me feel safe. And then they're gone. They'll come in literally. Like I know a factual story. A guy told me that his daughter could call this number. She calls the number, the ambulance comes, no sirens, and texts her when they're there. And then she comes down, puts herself in the fucking ambulance, and they take her away. And the parents get up and she's gone.
The guardians, the actual guardians of that child are losing their rights. We as parents we are the protectors, not the state, not the government.
Not in Canada.
Unless
you live in Alberta.
That's why a lot of people have moved to Alberta, because it's a really slippery slope.
Yeah.
To the government raising your child.
Yeah.
And I mean, they already partially do because the kids are being raised by somebody
It's crazy.
paid by the government all day long.
All day long. That's the whole goal. Get them out of the house faster, get you back to work quicker.
Yep.
So that I can get my fucking hands on them and indoctrinate them. So I'll answer your question now.
Yeah.
Dr. Jess is on the scene. If Dr. Jess is on the scene, if you know what I mean. So statistically, most of these kids, if you just let them be, would actually develop to be heterosexual, like their normal heterosexual selves.
Yeah.
There is a high percentage that would be gay. If left alone, they would end up like me. They would just end up like a gay or bisexual person. Okay? The problem is that now they're skewing data and science, the pseudoscience of like the junk science of the gender studies people that use qualitative versus quantitative.
Qualitative.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Qualitative. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I don't want to make a mistake. And they're misrepresenting or they're throwing out data that doesn't align with the results that they want. So they'll take kids out of studies that aren't showing the science that they want them to show. Yep. Or parents that won't put them on blockers. Yep. So we're just not, now unfortunately, I think that there's great science from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, but I think that a lot of the recent stuff is very skewed because there's just no way. Now, I mean, I do believe that our environment is impacting women's health, reproductive health, which is creating, like Alex Jones said 20 years ago, that they're turning the frogs gay, and everyone laughed. And
that's true.
There's a study that shows that if you give them enough of these chemicals that we are exposed to on a regular basis, that these frogs will turn. It's crazy.
Wow. Well, it's fish too.
It's crazy.
Because women, the increase of birth control being prescribed to women, and then women are urinating into the water system.
Right.
We're peeing out all these hormones, high estrogen, right? And it alters our environment.
And you wonder why all males today seem beta. Yep. And it's something that I find funny because I can remember even in recent years being around kids and thinking, that's not what kids look like. Okay, like yesterday, we had this encounter with these grade 9s from John Paul High School in London. Mm-hmm. And it was a lovely encounter. It started out rocky. It was lovely, but I remember I was like interacting with them and I was looking at them and I'm thinking, I mean, they were not as mature looking to me. They looked like children.
They looked really young.
And when I was in grade 9, like the guys had mustaches.
That's true.
Like guys had mustaches. Like these guys looked very adolescent to me. They just, anyway, it just caught me. It just I thought it was funny. I think they look so young and so like boyish.
We both saw that, but I also think as I've gotten older, my perspective keeps changing because when I was young,
right?
Our daughter's age, they looked older then. Right. So it's can be perspective.
It's true. I'm old now, so it's true. It's true. Wow. Anyway, so honest, like the honest science of it has shown me that most of these kids, if they were just left alone, would just find that there are just women that, yes, it actually is biological that more men are geared more towards construction and technology. That's science.
That's also their brain, right? There's what I mean. A brain difference between a female and a male.
But in this book, she's saying that they're not allowed to say that. There are actually scientists that are saying there's no difference between the female and male brain. And there's just like so much evidence to show that they're just so different. But that doesn't mean that like there can't be people that have different brains than others. Like everyone's brain is different, but lesbians do have different brains than heterosexual women. Slight differences, not big differences, but gay men and heterosexual women have, like I mentioned before, a similar. So there are differences, obviously, and there's similarities. And if you're gay or straight, that affects things. But everybody's different. And to say that men and women have no difference in the brain and that the brains are the same is absurd. It's absurd.
For during the COVID era when everything was focused on being science based, how come we can be so science based on that, but not on this giant topic that impacts physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health? Mm-hmm. Think of it for a moment, like just watch the trends. Okay, let's just focus on the trends of society, because growing up, it was rare to meet a trans person. Super rare.
1 in 20,000.
It was also rare to meet gay people. Like in high school, like I could, like maybe a handful of people I knew that were gay, and people were pretty comfortable. Not at the beginning because they were going through puberty still, but later in high school, people were pretty comfortable, like showing up more as themselves or figuring things out, and again, natural development, right?
Right.
Now, if you look at our society, we have an increase in mental health issues. We also have an increase in different disorders, like new disorders coming out.
We also have a difference in 30% of the youth and adolescent and young people identifying in the alphabet soup mafia.
Yep.
So,
Is there a correlation to that?
well, there has to be a correlation, because if you look at the trends, I mean, common sense happens faster than science, right? Like we can watch and see the trends that are happening, and we're experiencing it through our own stories and from our friends' stories of being like, yeah, my kid's saying they're trans, but like I know they're not. But their friends are also saying that they're trans, and there's also a trend at school that if you identify as trans, you are like raised up.
Yep.
Right? Like, and the teachers are like raising you up. So it's almost encouraged. And if you are just heterosexual, you're on the outs. Like it's not cool to be heterosexual. It's like completely reversing things.
Does it remind you of anything? Like, it's just so funny. Does it remind you of, like, I'm thinking like 94, and it's like all of a sudden, if you're not a grunge skater, you're a fucking loser. So if you're not in like old 1970s corduroy fucking bell bottoms.
Mod robes?
No, bell bottoms.
Oh,
like
I grew up with the mod robes.
We grew up with
fad.
mod robes too, but that was like for comfy. That wasn't every day. That wasn't. You had to be like cool. You had to look like Kurt Cobain, or you were a loser.
Well, how about this? You've heard the theory that when society is on the downfall, that the first to go is gender, and because we know that the world is going that way, and it's obviously swinging way far to trans LGBTQ. Like, is it going to swing the other way?
Haven't you also ever heard that the initial stages of communism is taking away gender?
Exactly.
Eliminating identity.
Eliminating identity.
Right.
So like that's the first thing. That's the ushering in of communism is nobody is an individual. Everybody. It's for the
Greater good of all.
greater good of all.
Yeah.
You are. There's a word I'm trying to think of that I can't think of. Like as one. It's called collective.
Yeah.
The collective is more important than the individual.
The collective is more important than the individual.
It's not a coincidence that it's happening now, and
That's right.
Right.
But it's like, it's scary, but not to take away from the scariness of it, because it is because there's so much other stuff right now that looks like communism that's happening. But I'm just trying to say, like, in the late 90s it was that, and then it was goth, and then it was emos.
Emo.
Emus?
Emo.
Emos.
Emu. And see, the problem with emos is that those emos are now these 30 fucking 5-year-old activists. These crazy. That's who they are. That's who they are.
Well, generally, activists also aren't representative of the collective or that whole demographic group. Activists are also the ones that are the most vocal. So they represent a certain person.
Yeah.
Right? But they don't represent the whole.
No, it's true.
It's like the LGBTQ alphabet soup community. We don't feel connected to that, and we don't support it because
Well, I don't support pedophilia. So, therefore, I cannot support a group that would attach that to itself and not question it. And when you question it, they tell you that you're a hater, a phobe, a transphobe, or a homophobe. Even if
they
you're
name
gay.
call.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, if you don't agree with them, they
Cool.
use name calling. This is child behavior.
They can have flags, okay? But if a guy walks into a store and says, "Hello, ma'am, could you please? Are you a flag making store?" "Yes, sir, I am. Thank you. Could you please make me a flag?" Yes, I can. Okay, I'd like a heterosexual flag. Well, I can't make that for you. But, ma'am, you've got a pedophilia flag here, and a trans flag here, and a British flag here, and my favourite footy team flag here. What's wrong with this flag?
Oh my God.
You're a homophobe, transphobe, racist man, and you're white, and you're a colonizer, and you must leave my store now.
Wow. I like that voice.
I just made it up.
That was great.
That was so good.
That was great.
But why?
But no, that's true.
Why?
It's true. If you can, if we're really talking about equality,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
and you want to have just example, parade for the gays,
Yeah.
okay, and you want to hang pride flags everywhere, okay, cool. Can heterosexuals do the same? And if they're not, but which society says no, that's not okay because you're not being inclusive, you're being a complete hypocrite. That is so hypocritical.
It's the same as Black Lives Matter. Can I make a flag that says White Lives Matter? No, because then you're a white nationalist Nazi. But wait a minute, why do you have that flag? We know that Black Lives Matter. Every life matters.
Yeah, all lives matter.
So making a Black Lives Matter flag leaves out Asian people, Caucasian people.
It leaves out everybody else.
So
It's the same concept of in the schools where we're boosting up only the trans kids because they're identifying as trans. But how come we aren't just boosting up all kids? Like their self-esteem is important for everybody, and just treat everybody equal instead of, oh, so and so is now saying
Yeah.
that they're this.
Yeah.
Versus what happened to supporting the child based off of their own merit and their accomplishments.
yeah. But like you said, all kids, and that's true. Like obviously we should try to boost all children, but the meritocracy is a great point. Like when I was a kid, if you played on a hockey team that went to whatever, I can remember getting my name on the announcements because we won a medal somewhere, and I wore it to school, of course, and you got hey, congratulations to Jessica's hockey team this weekend. They won the tournament and whatever. And I'd wear my what's up, yo? Yeah. What's up? Want my picture? What's up, yo? We should be celebrating kids that do that. We should be.
Their accomplishments.
They put
those
in a
are
lot of work.
profound. Those are also rites of passage in their own life, right?
Yeah.
Natural accomplishments also boost their own pride and their sense of belonging and purpose. We don't boost them up in this world based off of a label of identity to say now you belong in this world because you identify as trans.
Right. Oh, and then by the way, if you want to not identify as trans, your identity's shattered again, and you're fucked again.
For a lot of the young kids that are on social media whose parents are both working and they're left to their own devices and they're struggling with self-identity, they're struggling maybe with depression, maybe they're experiencing bullying, maybe they just feel lost around who they are, maybe they haven't worked on any self-love because their parents don't know that themselves.
Yeah.
And here they are scrolling through social media and they find that guy that puts on makeup and says
Jeffrey.
That grooms children, that this is grooming. He goes, I'm your family. Come home to me. I will love you no matter what.
Ew.
Yeah.
Right?
Groomer.
I think that's a good segue into the groomer conversation you want to have.
Oh yeah, you want to? Okay. Well,
That's a
we
good
can.
point.
I still think we haven't started yet because I didn't go through my.
We'll circle back. We'll
Okay. So if you want to talk about grooming, because it's such a word that's thrown around so much right now. And I know that recently I called somebody a groomer and she got very angry with me. But, I mean, if you want to keep a secret, no matter who that child is, and you're not their parent, no matter whether you think that parent is a good parent or is going through something or not, if there's a child and they've told you a secret and it's not I like red popsicles the best.
Yeah.
But if it's at school they call me Selma, and I get to use the girls' bathroom now. And you decide that that's a secret that you want to keep, that makes you a groomer. So, sorry about that.
But to keep that information from the parent, and then that child's having this secret with another adult.
Yeah, like, I mean, do you think that teaches them
Safety?
like?
That's not teaching a child safety with adults.
Yeah.
That's the opposite.
Yeah.
Like that.
And you know what? To that person, have your own fucking kids. Okay? You're so concerned about kids, have your own kids. You may not think that parent is the best parent, and you know what? That parent might not be the best parent. But that's that kid's parent, and that's their journey.
This is part of the woke ideology, is that it's blanketing all parents are bad, that parents are against you.
Yes.
And that you're safer at school with parents that aren't teachers or schoolmates or whoever that aren't your family. They know what's better for you. Because they're with you at school. Those kids are in that system for more waking hours than they are at home.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's a great point.
It does feed into the grooming piece, because children are easily swayed and influenced. This is the demographic. That's why we are their parents, their caregivers, because we are the ones that are in charge of their safety. And because they are so highly influenced and malleable, that they are the vulnerable population. And that's also why, as a parent, it does get us heated, because this has been a war on children and safety, and we are losing our own rights as parents the more that we allow this to continue to happen. And any parent, anybody that speaks out against this stuff, if you're getting slammed with hate, it's because there's a good chance they don't have their own children, or they don't understand, or that they are getting swept up in this certain ideology and this certain programming.
Yeah.
Rather than just sitting down and having discourse.
They can't have discourse.
So find out.
Okay,
you have a whole bunch of stuff. Get yourself sorted here.
Oh, I'm ready.
You
I'm
ready?
waiting for you to shut up.
All right.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Okay. First, I want to read you Wikipedia, because the internet is always so right. But it's just so funny, because I want everyone here to know just how, like, if you don't know how to research and dig stuff up, this is where things get fucked, okay? Because here's what Wikipedia is going to tell you about the famous John Money, okay? New Zealand American psychologist and sexologist. John William Money was a New Zealand American psychologist, sexologist, and professor at Johns Hopkins University, known for his research on human sexual behavior and gender. Wow, cool, right? He sounds like a great guy. Okay, in reality,
That was the Wikipedia's
that's the
description.
Wikipedia description.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm gonna give you one case of David Reimer, and his twin brother, who are born totally fine. They have no malfunction or dysfunction, except David has a botched circumcision. Okay? And so the other brother, obviously, poor guy, or lucky guy, I should say, he doesn't get his circumcision. The parents say, yeah, okay, we're going home. Okay, so they're told to go, they're Canadian, they're from Winnipeg, they're told to go to Florida and go to see this John Money, who's this renowned sexologist, and he's going to help them. So he takes the two boys, and he tells the parents, after examining the boy, that the penis should be cut off, and they should try to turn it into female genitalia as best as they can and raise him as a girl. Because he told them that, and this is where all your fucking trans bullshit ideologies, queer theory, is based on his research, okay? He tells the parents that he should be raised a girl because sex is not biological. It's learned behavior. So the parents take the advice, cut whatever poor little dick this poor little guy's got left off, and raise him as a girl. Now he's ridiculed, made fun of, presents very masculine, and is not interested in anything feminine, but is forced to wear and act as if he's a girl, and thinks he's a girl because he doesn't know any different, even though he doesn't feel like a girl. And every single year for like 14 years, they have to go to Florida and meet with John Money and go through these exams and tests and whatever. So what the parents think is happening and what's really happening are two very different things. So the parents assume he's being examined and talked to. The boys are actually being stripped naked, and they're having to act out sexual positions and interactions together and touch each other and look at each other's genitals and etc. Okay? It's horrifying to read this information. It's horrifying.
Sexual abuse.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, awful.
Okay? Now, finally at 14 years old, David says to his dad, "If you make me go for the visit this year, I'm going to kill myself." So the dad says, "Fine, we're not going." I still don't think the parents at this point know what's been going on. And then at 15, his dad pulls him aside and says, "Okay, this is what happened." So at 15, he chooses, again, think about this. If it's just his choice, why wouldn't he choose to live as the female because he doesn't have a penis? Okay? But no, he chooses to live as the biological sex that he was created and born as, and goes on to marry a woman with 2 kids of her own. Obviously, he can't reproduce, and commits suicide at 38. And I think his brother died too. I think his brother committed suicide.
Yeah, they both did.
Okay, and this is what all you people out there that tell me that I'm a cunt and I'm fat and I'm grotesque in my opinions, this is the fucking research that your fucking retarded scientists, quote unquote, are basing their research on. And there's thousands of children that he's seen and that he worked with. So
is he the one that also created the flag, the trans flag? Who created it? No, there was somebody else, but he was also a pedophile.
yes.
And the light pink and the light blue colors symbolize pedophilia preferences.
Yeah, because the little girl is pink and the boy is blue.
Yeah.
And then you've got all the symbols and signs in other things as well.
But all this is so disturbing. It's so revolting and stomach turning that if you're listening and you never knew any of this, I'm sorry, but it's truth and it's hard to hear. And having a visceral reaction to that is a normal.
Having a visceral reaction means that you have hope. There's hope for you. Because if you listen to that and go, meh, guess what? You're a pedophile. Sorry, you might have been abused as a child and that sucks and you weren't helped and that sucks even more. But you need to get help now. Because if you listen to any of that and think, you're a pedophile.
Yeah, it's a normal, healthy response
Sorry.
to feel disturbed by that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have to move on to Alfred Kinsey because he is a friend of John Money. They're acquaintances. And, okay, so Kinsey, the Kinsey Institute, you can look this up if you want to do some research on him because he's another one that's fucking disgusting. But they just honored him. They just put up a statue. And because people like pedophiles now, they take down Sir John A. Macdonald's statue, but they put up the Kinsey Institute. He was doing the same kind of disgusting fucking pedophilic shit, and at a university. But I can't remember. You could look it up, but I can't remember. I have too much information in my brain right now. Okay, but this is what he said. So this is someone that people, again, they base theories on his research. Okay, so he says, he has a lot of great stats, but here's one that is worth questioning. 50% of men, this is his stat. Okay, I'm saying this to you in very sarcastic manner if you don't know it, because he's a liar and his research is very flawed. This is one of his quotes. 50% of men have engaged in sex with animals.
What?
It's also said that while it's not necessarily natural, sex with animals is not immoral, but moral. Period. Okay? That's Alfred Kinsey of the Kinsey Institute. It's a fucking big branch of... Can you look it up?
Yeah.
Because these people need to hear... It's at a very prestigious school. The Kinsey, Kinsey, Kinsey Institute. I just can't remember. So that's one of his many statistics that he's come up with. He was a zoologist.
What?
Yep. And studying like human...
Oh, that's why the whole animal thing, the bestiality came up.
Yeah.
That's probably his own.
But he's...
What's his first name?
Alfred. It's horrifying stuff. And...
Like smudge after all this.
Right?
Ugh.
For more than 75 years, the Kinsey Institute at Indiana University has been trusted source for scientific knowledge and research on critical issues in sexuality, gender, and reproduction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that guy we love you. We think that you're great, and he also thinks it's great to fuck animals. He thinks it's completely moral, and he's going to tell you. And I didn't read the full thing. But in that whole quote, he talked about how a lot of it was farm, like he's trying to say that if you're rural, but 50% of men would fuck animals, no problem. And I just do not think in any way, shape, or form that that's true. I think that there's a very sick number of individuals that would do that.
I
Just
think
like
unhealthy people.
Just like I think they're probably the same, and I'm not going to say it, but...
But I guess this comes back around to like, okay, all the kids, everybody that is experiencing mental health issues need mental health supports. Mm-hmm. They need psychotherapy, right? They need a community that are supportive and loving, but that don't... I think the problem is all this affirmative care and affirmative action to... get kids into transition early is a horrifying, not science or evidence-based practices. I don't believe, because we don't have the long-term data, and also all the kids we're completely ignoring all the detransitioners that have spoken out and how mental health is higher for those that have transitioned. Yeah. Suicidality and depression is even higher.
We are going to talk about detransitioning for sure at the end, because I think that's a big fucking part of this. Big fucking part of that. But, but the science is there though. But the science is not what they're telling you it is.
I think it's skewed. Mainstream media or this is pushing this the kind of woke ideology around it, again blanketing it all as this without giving any context, having discourse around all the other factors that are involved, main ones being mental health and trauma. We're neglecting the key factors that are around somebody being well.
Okay, well, Jess, what other...
Okay.
Where do you want to go?
I think we're going to start at the basics, because I think it's important that people understand some really basic stuff, which we should have probably done at the beginning, but whatever. Because I do think it's important that people understand the very basics, because we're just taught so much crap that's just completely wrong. And I am someone that didn't know, so it seems important to educate you guys a little bit too. So let's start first with the battle against biology, okay? So I asked a question earlier, these guys got it wrong, and I thought it was pretty funny, so I'm going to ask it to the audience. Do you guys know the difference between sex research / sexology and gender women's studies? Is there a difference, or are they the same? I'm asking you guys in your head right now, you guys, what do you think? Are you thinking, yeah, they're probably the same thing, or you're either saying they're not the same thing? The answer is they are not the same thing. And I 100% would have thought that gender studies and sexology / sex research was 100% the same thing, but it is not the same thing. Sex research / sexology refers to scientific disciplines that are quantitative.
Quantitative.
Thank you. Quantitative. Quantitative methods such as statistics to understand human sexuality and gender. Now, related disciplines are biology, neuroscience, and medicine. When done properly, sex research is rigorous because science is designed to eliminate bias and confounding variables. So you know that what you find is legit. Okay? So I think that's important because we have to start at the basics here. Okay? Now, gender studies tends to use qualitative methods. Oh, so I was right. It was quantitative. No, quantitative.
Yeah.
My bad. I was wrong. Quantitative. And this uses qualitative, okay? Which would be like an interview and an audio ethnograph. What? Okay. So, no, ethnography. Autoethnography.
What's that?
That is diary entries.
That's
Okay.
for qualitative studies.
So,
yeah.
Right.
So, this is not scientific. Do you understand that? Me telling you a story about how I feel isn't necessarily scientific.
Right.
We're not using
Qualitative studies are getting people's stories generally, and then you can get better perspectives and understanding and awareness, and so you get more information. But the quantitative research is data, right? So you're
Right.
collecting hard data, factual data.
Exactly.
That it's measurable.
right
back it up.
because
Yes.
because facts don't care about your feelings.
Yep.
Okay, that's just but
No,
that's
that's true.
true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Your feelings and your diary entries are great, but if you're a mentally disturbed fucking man with autogynephilia, guess what? That needs to be taken into consideration.
Yep.
Okay? Now, I want to talk about some myths because I think this is extremely important. Okay, so myth number 1, biological sex is a spectrum. Now, 5, 7, 8 years ago, I would have agreed. No, 10 years ago when I first started CrossFit. No, my whole life I would have agreed, okay? Until I started CrossFit and realized that no matter, wow. And I should have learned this playing co-ed hockey, but, I think when you play co-ed hockey, for the most part, most of the guys are nice and they're not out there to kill you.
Right.
So when there is a mix-up and something happens and you get laid the fuck out, which has happened to me, I really should have known then, like, oof, like...
That's rough.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
instead of... Anyway, you understand what I'm trying to say, I think. But it's not a spectrum. And I just don't understand how... Oh, I do understand how people are programmed into thinking that it is, because so was I.
Sorry, what are they saying is a spectrum?
Okay. Biological sex is either male or female. Sex is defined not by chromosomes or our genitalia or hormonal profiles, but by gametes, which are mature reproductive cells. 2 types of gametes, small ones called sperm, produced by males, and large ones called eggs, produced by females. No intermediate type of gametes. Therefore, sex is binary. It is not a spectrum.
Right.
Right. That's biology.
That's biology.
Simple biology.
So people
yes.
can say that sex, and they want to change it now to gender, is a spectrum, but it is not.
Right.
Gender is now becoming a social construct where we're creating out of it what we want, essentially.
Right.
But when we look at the biology,
Yeah.
that doesn't change. And that's what we're looking at, because biology also defines our brain development. It defines a lot of aspects of all pretty well aspects of our physiology. But the gender ideology that we're getting confronted with in society is pushing a spectrum. And so that we have to be able to separate the two and recognize that no matter, you can say all those things and think all those things, and you can identify as whatever you want, but that doesn't negate the fact that you are a binary, either sex,
Yeah.
which is male or female. Those are your chromosomes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
so that's
those are your gametes,
the
not
gametes.
chromosomes.
So, but
Not chromosomes. Those are your
Those
gametes.
are your gametes.
Those are your gametes. Gametes. Yep.
so then the chromosomes.
I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay. You keep going.
I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so gender identity is how we feel in relation to our sex, regarding whether we feel masculine or feminine. Okay, so my gender identity is kind of in the middle. I don't feel like a man, and I certainly feel like a woman, but I feel more masculine. I don't get excited about going to shop for clothes. I get excited about going to shop for hunting gear,
Hell yeah.
or like farm gear,
Yep.
or carpenter gear,
Or camo pants.
or camo pants.
Yep.
But like I don't want to go shopping
Oh.
for like new clothes. Like it's just I don't want to. I don't get excited about baking pie. Doesn't mean that I won't or that I'm not good at it, because I have. But I'm not excited about spending my day in the kitchen.
Right.
I would rather be out working, doing chores, shooting a bow, working
Building
with the
something.
tractor, building something.
Yeah.
And that refers to
And that refers to my gender identity.
identity. Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Now, gender expression is the external manifestation of our gender identity,
Right.
or how we express our gender through appearance.
Whereas you dress more feminine than me,
Yes.
if it's a spectrum,
Yes, but more
Right.
masculine than her.
than Jen. Yeah. Right.
Well, we're at the spectrum right here.
But see, like we are the spectrum, because she's on the female femme end,
Yep.
and I'm probably more
In the middle.
to the masculine end,
Yep.
and then you're more like your masculine end.
Yep.
So you and her are opposites,
Opposite.
and me and you are somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
It's interesting.
You're in the middle.
You're in the middle.
You're the middle.
But I'm more. You think I'm in the middle?
You're the middle.
Okay, I'm in the middle. Fine. Okay, whatever.
You had to wear your Levi's jeans. Come on, you're in the
True,
middle.
true. Okay, fine. That's fine. Okay, I can. That's true. I am. Okay, so we get that now.
Yep.
So my gender identity is more masculine, and I express that through dressing mediary. Like I still like to be feminine, and
Yep.
I'm not butch, but I definitely am not femme.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So then, similar to sex, gender, both with regard to identity and expression, is biological. It is not a social construct, nor is it divorced from anatomy or sexual orientation. Biology, not society, dictates whether we are gender typical or atypical. The extent to which we identify as the sex we were born and as the partners we are attracted to.
And this refers to gender. Nope.
Yep, this
Yep.
is similar to sex, gender. Yep.
Wow.
So gender is with regard to identity and expression. It's biological, okay? It's not a social construct.
I get for filling out your forms for your driver's license or filling out the different things that it was traditionally, and in some cases still is traditionally under sex. The category is sex. Are you male or female? And now the switch to gender is now around how do you identify, right? So I can see how it's causing a huge ripple effect of issues.
This is a big effect for many reasons, and this is why I'm saying these poor fucking intersex people that really are the ones that have the issue is just more confusing and bureaucratical than anything that it needs to be. Like, the amount of gray area now where you can have a biological man in female situations because of the way I identify is quite scary. It's quite scary because now with all these loopholes, with all of the how do you identify versus what sex are you?
Right. Right.
Okay, great. You identify as a couch. Fine.
Our identity is constantly changing, though. Mm-hmm. So,
That's true.
like, right?
That's
Like, our
true.
identity is constantly changing. I guess the main concern that I have with this push in our society is that when we are the protectors of the vulnerable, say the children, so anybody under 18, if we give them permission to constantly change what they identify as, because Abby wanted to be Elsa for a while. She also she changed. If she could have been lots
I
of
don't
different
even
things.
think she wanted to be Elsa. She was just obsessed with Elsa and wanted to play with all the things and wear the dress. But at night, she didn't be like, call me Elsa.
No,
she knew that was just like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. She still knew she was Evelyn.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I think is the main concern, is that we're forgetting actual healthy parenting and healthy child development, and we're letting children make significant decisions that are actually highly dangerous and have long-term, if not lifetime, consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When sperm fertilizes an egg at conception, the baby will either be female or male. This biology will influence hormonal exposure in the womb as well as the child's resulting gender identity. At about 7 weeks, if the embryo is male, the testes will begin to secrete testosterone, masculinizing the brain. If the embryo is female, this process does not occur. There are thousands of studies showing the effects of prenatal testosterone on the developing brain. In fact, this exposure to testosterone has a powerful effect on the ways in which male and female brains grow. In a 2016 study of Nature Scientific Reports, researchers at the University of California found testosterone exposure alters the programming and neural stem cells responsible for the brain growth, leading to differences between the sexes before the brain has finished developing in utero. Okay, did you hear that, people? Differences between the sexes before the brain has finished developing in utero, meaning your society cannot construct fuck all because it's fucking developed. Okay? And then quickly, from a scientific perspective, gender identity is basically synonymous with biological sex. There are, of course, exceptions to the rule, including intersex people and people who are transgender, who we will discuss, and it goes on to discuss them in a moment. Okay? So, yes, there's exceptions to the rule. It happens. We see this, but it does not happen at the rate in which you are telling me it's happening. There are statistics in this book that tell you it's 1 in 20,000. So there's no way that 8 kids out of 30 in a public school class should be identifying as trans. It's like 8 kids would have been emo.
I think there's just such a slippery slope with especially in schools, around encouraging this and not setting limits and boundaries, which is what we're supposed to be doing for children in order to protect their safety.
Yeah.
Because it's just, we're losing sight of healthy development under the guise of inclusivity. And I mean, this is such a big topic, Jess. Like we kind of went in different directions with it, and it's there. I mean, we haven't even gotten into pronouns and stuff like that, and children changing their names at school, and like there's a lot of more to, and sports and men and women's safe spaces, right? Like these are there's a lot of
There's too much.
There's too much.
So we could do 10 episodes on this, and we have a good one next, so I don't want to do a back-to-back.
Yeah.
But what's our time at so far?
It's an hour and a half.
We're already at an hour and a half?
So if there's anything like that you want to end on,
Oh my God.
but yeah.
Yeah, or any listeners that are listening that want to hear us go into specifics, pronouns, and like talking about other, please let us know, because this is a huge conversation, and one that is
I can't believe
great.
it's already been an hour and a half.
Right, like, but I think we have there's still so much more information that we haven't even discussed. Even
Okay,
like
well-
April Hutchinson and stuff like that. Like there's so much more that we can get into, but
Okay, well, how
final
long,
thoughts.
what do you think, like 5-10 minutes left?
Final thoughts
Oh, come on.
for you? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, I'm going to let you have your final thoughts because I have to think of this because there's like, for sure, there's areas that we still need to quickly touch on.
So my final thoughts as far as it from looking at things from a spiritual lens, couple of things. I don't think God makes mistakes. I think our journey here as humans is to learn to fully love ourselves. Full 100% love. I think that there is so much influence from external programming that dilutes one's ability to understand themselves and to allow true development and true self-exploration to take place. And all external noise intervenes that. And there's a huge push with all the marketing, the music industry, Hollywood, movies, commercialization, like that, that is really targeting the most vulnerable population. And it is our job as parents to parent them, not the government's job to parent our child.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, that was well said. Yeah, well, anyway, I agree with that. And I think that I'll just have to save,
Nothing?
I guess, the rest. No, I mean, I have so much. I
I
can't
know.
I can't really say, other than, you know, I think that as a society, we do have to, women and men, mothers and fathers, we do have to start to voice publicly our opposition to biological males participating in female sports. In female, I know of an example where it was like a young girl's puberty kind of group for them to talk about their bodies and things and whatever, and a boy joined. And of course, no one wanted to be mean, and so the boy stayed, but none of the girls were able to do what they came to do, which was
Yep.
talk about openly about what they were going through. It was ridiculous. So I do think that as women, mothers, fathers, parents, we have to speak out and speak up about, you don't have to be hurtful. There are legitimate kids out there that are more likely than not gay. They will grow up to be gay. Some of those kids will grow up to be completely heterosexual, normal, if you will. I don't want to say that, but like you understand what I'm saying. And about 1 in 20,000 of them is maybe intersex or trans. Okay, it happens. We should be kind to those very few individuals that present that way. But we have a very peculiar situation on our hands that's not by accident with men with autogynephilia and other mental illnesses that need help and not being lifted up in our society and allowed to be entering into women and girls' very vulnerable spaces. That is where my line is drawn in the sand, and that's where I will fight to the death on the topic.
Nice.
And we'll have more discussions with that, especially when hopefully we can get April Hutchinson on to our podcast, who's a female athlete and has been outspoken about it.
Yeah, but I hope that you guys got the background. I hope that this gave you some real
more context.
Yeah, more context to it and more actual scientific knowledge about some of what's going on and how kids are attracted to fads and how this too, if we speak up and speak out, it will too pass, and your kids will grow up to be completely normal. Maybe just a cool lesbian.
We can only hope.
We can only hope. Or no, actually, we can't only hope. The world needs more fucking straight people.
With full
Men,
self-love.
alpha males.
Full self-love.
With self-love and kindness
Yeah.
and respect and anyway, less hatred. And a lot of these activists have a lot of self-hatred and projections, and we have to work on that, man. All right, peace out.